What's up, my YouTube family? It's your boy Berto checking in with another video, guys. As you guys know before, I've talked a lot about Antarctica, and I even said that there's life underneath that thick ice in Antarctica where we cannot see it. I said I believe there's alien life forms deep within the ice where nobody can go at, and even at the deepest parts, I feel like there's something living there. Just yesterday, we had two British scientists discover life 3,000 feet below the Arctic ice. They didn't think it was possible because there's really no source of food and no sunlight down there. So they didn't think it was possible for life forms to live in those kind of conditions, and they still can't figure out how there are life forms down there because they don't know how they're surviving. But as I said before, we try to base things off the standards we need to survive. That's not how things work. Evolution, and there's things made to survive in every condition. Every condition. So take a look at this video and let me know what you think.
My name's Hugh Griffiths and I'm a marine biologist at the British Antarctic Survey. And we recently found life living far beneath a giant floating ice shelf. What we found was surprising because we never expected these kind of animals that filter feed their food from the water column, to be found this far from a source of food or daylight. Everything we know about these environments under the ice comes from just a handful of holes drilled by people through the ice and then cameras lowered down. This means that we really don't know that much, and the total area that human beings have seen under the ice shelves adds up to about the size of a tennis court. The area underneath these giant floating ice shelves is probably one of the least known habitats on Earth. And we didn't really know much about what lives there, but we didn't think that these kind of animals like sponges would be found there. For me, what's really exciting about what we found is that this finding throws up more questions than it answers. We have no idea what species these animals are. We don't know how they're coping with these extreme conditions. And the only way we're going to be able to answer those questions is to come up with a new way of investigating their world.
So as you guys can see, there is definitely life at the bottom of the Arctic. That's not even the bottom. There are creatures that we don't even think exist and won't even know about that live at the bottom of the Antarctic Ocean. The secrets to Earth and a lot of the things about Earth are in Antarctica. But the government doesn't want us to know that. And that's why they try so hard to stop us from seeing these life forms, these species, all these different things underneath the Arctic Ocean. There's so much down there that we don't know about. We're always told that, something can't survive in certain conditions. That's because we base, like I said before, we base everything off our living conditions and what we think is acceptable for life and what's doable for life. There's probably species of animals out there that are mammals or whatever you want to call it, that don't need food and water to survive. Just because we need it doesn't mean something else needs it. There's probably alien life forms that live at the bottom of the Arctic that don't need what we need to survive, don't need the oxygen levels, don't need sunlight. There's probably things that are like bats. They hate sunlight. There are probably things out there that we don't know about, and we keep thinking because based off what science tells us, that it needs these certain things to live. That is not true. As you can see now, I definitely said in my previous video about Antarctica, I said I feel like if you keep digging through the Arctic, that eventually you will get to a point where you come up against another life form. And what I mean by a life form, I'm not talking about sponges and stuff of what we just seen, but I really think there's an alien species deep in the bottom of the Arctic that we don't know about. We don't know about. And we probably will never know about because the government will keep it confidential from us. Everything that we need to learn about this Earth is in Antarctica. Everything we need to know. That's why they try so hard to stop us from going to the Arctic. They don't want, every government actually has an agreement with stuff that happens in Antarctica. That is weird because a lot of these governments don't get along about anything. They don't have treaties about anything, but when it comes to the Arctic, they have a treaty. there's something they're keeping from us in Antarctica, and I do feel like life originated in the Arctic Ocean. I personally do. And not the Arctic Ocean, but in Antarctica. And our government knows that, our top scientists knows that, but they keep it from us. There's something they're digging for in Antarctica. There's something they know about in Antarctica. I believe, there are creatures, like massive sized creatures, that live at the very bottom of the Arctic. Not the aliens I'm talking about. I feel like the aliens are at the deepest part, but there are huge creatures like the Loch Ness Monster that we see and hear about all the time. Creatures of that sort that live in the Arctic, but we don't know about it because they live at depths that we can't get to. There's probably different marine life down there that we don't know about. And that's why we think the animals don't have nothing to feed on, because we assume that there's nothing down there to feed on. That is just not true. Not true. Now, it's up to you if you want to believe that, but we all know that there is life everywhere, even in space. Just because it doesn't require what we need for life doesn't mean it does not need to survive off of certain things. But there's definitely more marine life at the bottom of the ocean that we don't know about, and there's sources of food for those animals, guys. Stay woke. Antarctica is really what we need to be learning about. But, the people got to wake up at some point, guys, and realize that there's much more out there, and science isn't always correct, and we can't base everything off what we think is living standards. That is one thing we need to get in our heads. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys later.